Throughout our journey on the Atlantic voyage, we were exposed to local fisheries. We learned their methods of fishing, the different species of fish they catch, and the different technologies they use. Fish are a vital food source for many of these countries aboard the Atlantic. The economies of entire villages are centered around the fishing industry. The countries we focused on were Portugal, Ghana, South Africa, Argentina, Brazil, and the United States. Our goal was to observe the different ways that fishing in local communities across the Atlantic is changing due to globalization.
Due to its extensive coastal surrounding, Portugal has a rich tradition of fishing. Today, Portugal has one of the highest fish consumptions per capita in the world. However, the amount of commercial and local fishermen has decreased drastically since the 1990s. There's been a 31% increase in the amount of imported fish in Portugal since 1992. The increase in global accessibility and modes of transportation and trade has lessened the importance of commercial fishing. The most popular fish in Portuguese culture is the bacalhau, or salted cod. It has been produced for over 500 years. Before refrigeration, drying and salting the cod was a way to preserve it, and this tradition has continued into modern times.
While in Ghana, we were fortunate enough to visit Tessie Nangwa, a fishing village along Ghana's coast. Upon arrival, we were greeted by a number of local fishermen and hundreds of thousands of sardines. They catch the sardines during the night and then lay them out by the thousands to dry, in order to eat and sell them the following day. Making our way towards the waterfront, we were approached by many locals selling fish and showing off their catch. The fishing boats they used were made locally from mahogany and generally cost upwards of 25,000 American dollars, including the engine, nets, and other gear. We were able to watch as boats came in from the night of fishing. We experienced firsthand the amount of time and energy it takes to maneuver one of these boats onto the beach. They used long wooden planks, iron rollers, and upwards of 20 men to do so. After the boats were pulled, the catch was unloaded and displayed for us. There was a profound sense of pride while they displayed the fish, a showcase of the long night's hard work. After spending time on the beach, we were invited to the chief fisherman's home. Along with him were 3 representatives from the other prominent families in the village. The chief blessed us with libations and was kind enough to answer our questions, specifically about the quality of the fish and the effects of foreign multinational fishing corporations have on the local fishermen.
Chief Shaman, you say? The Chief Fisherman. Chief Fisherman. Since he's been at it for 50 years, how would he describe the quality and quantity of the fish over those 50 years? What changes has he seen?
For many years now, the fishing expedition have deteriorated because as compared to the time he started fishing and now, there's a vast gap. In terms of economies, the price of the outboard motor, the price of the canoe, the price of the net is skyrocketing. It's going up every day. You go to the market today, the next day you go to the market, the dollar rates have gone up, so it changes the price. And it's also saying that the pair trolling or the bigger boats, what they are doing is that they have light that they drop into the sea. So you go to fishing and all the big fishes goes to where the light is and they get the fingerlings that we saw. And what happens is that sometimes they catch more than their boat can even contain. And they lose some of them or they leave some of them and you see them floating on the ocean, dead. And based on that, it makes the ocean a little bit bad. So the good ones don't come to where they have the bad ones, and they moved out. And he's also saying that there are certain times that they just have this big light drop in the ocean for many days. So when you lay even your net, the fishes will not even come closer to where your net is because they are scared about that particular light in the ocean. So what they've done is that they've always talked to government about making sure that they preserve our maritime waters for us, so that people who are doing pair trolling will not come closer to our marine waters to make sure that they have fish. But government is not doing that well. And these trawlers, what they do is they call them the pair trawlers. They have 2 big trawlers with a net in the middle in a U4. So when they are going this way, they sweep everything within that boundary. But because they have their light that scares the other fishes away, or the one that pulls the other fishes into their net, you lay your net and you never get anything. So it has become a very major issue. And they are blaming it on European countries and other Western countries that they are the cause of the deterioration of the ocean, because they are taking much more than they have taken. Yeah. Because they are using the light.
South Africa's vast and productive coastline, approximately 3,000 kilometers long, is currently protected under the provisions of the Marine Living Resources Act of 1998. The primary objectives of this piece of legislation are principles of replenishment and restocking of living marine resources. Because of increased activity and a loss of sustainable fishing levels in the late 20th century, this law was enacted. It set out to achieve optimum sustainable utilization, the maintenance of biodiversity, and the fundamental principles of managing resources on a long-term basis. Under this act, South Africa has had profitable and sustainable fisheries.
Because of a lack of domestic demand and declining exports due to overfishing, the local industry, particularly the sport fishing sector, is more important than the commercial fishing industry in Argentina. Fish are not widely consumed in Argentina and are much less important to the economy than other agricultural products, like cereals and beef. Most of the fishing in Argentina is for the Argentinian hake, a small cod-like fish that sustains local populations.
During our trip to Manaus, we set out on the Amazon River with local guides who took us fishing for piranhas. Since the fish are not very strong, we were able to use bamboo poles and fishing line to catch them. Our guide Shamir informed us about the nutrient-rich waters that are able to be fished sustainably without government interference.
The ecosystem is so rich that in every 6 months when the river is high, the fish can be multiplied between the trees where the trees give fruits. Most of these small trees over there, have a look. Those lower trees, those are the trees that in the high water season, then they will start to give blossom and fruits. So this is the time when the fruits are flourishing, and the river gets high. The fish goes in and they feed on the falling fruits, and they multiply, give eggs, and after then, between that time, August and September, as the river get going down, is the best time for fishing.
Okay.
So they don't have a limit.
Throughout history, the United States has been a powerhouse in the fishing industry from the local level to big commercial fishing. As they've ruled the sea, the United States should take the first steps in battling the sustainability of fisheries around the world.
Okay. On a global scale, what changes need to be done to successfully battle overfishing?
The only thing that could ever be done, it seems to me, would be something on the order of the international agreement that we've come to in terms of harvesting of whales. You have to get a cooperation between all fishing nations, and they have to agree on a set of rules, where they can fish, how many fish they can catch, what size fish they can catch, and so on and so forth. And they have to limit the amount of bycatch, which is the stuff that they don't want, that they throw back overboard, that is dead. And in some cases, harvestable fish are thrown over because of existing rules. For example, if you have a permit to catch salmon and simultaneously you catch a bunch of pollock, you have to throw the pollock back overboard, when in fact pollock is a different fishery. So anyway, they'll have to come to an agreement with a set of rules that everybody abides by. It's similar to what's been done with the marine mammals to regulate the over-harvest. Okay, same thing.
Due to technology, fishing methods are changing and bringing about many positive and negative effects for local fisheries.
Commercialization of fishing is deteriorating the fish populations around the Atlantic, bringing economic strain to those individuals who depend on local fishing every day.
Government involvement in the big industrial fishing sector is causing local fisheries to be affected.
Every aspect of fishing is intertwined, from the local fishermen to the big corporations and the industrial fisheries.
Government enforcement of law and regulations are positively and negatively affecting local fisheries.
Primitive active fishing has and will be a source of income, food, and leisure. It will continue to adapt and change due to modern times. However, through this project, it is certain that fishing will continue on for decades and centuries to come.